Well, it's an exciting day today because after the lockdown, it's the first real press conference we really have been to, and it is for the stunning looking Renault Kiger. It looks really true to its concept. It's a very stylish car based off the CMF-A Plus platform, which is shared with the Triber and its cousin, which was launched very recently, the Nissan Magnite. The Renault Kiger will compete with the likes of Mahindra's XUV 300, Hyundai's Venue, Kia's Sonet, Maruti's Vitara Brezza, Tata's Nexon, Ford's EcoSport, and the Toyota Urban Cruiser. Let's get right down to it. Yeah, these looks, well, up front, there's a lot going on. It's a very sculpted bonnet. You have the wing-shaped grille that runs right across, flanked on either side by the split lamps. They're the daytime running LED lights on top. And of course, that very distinctive 3-cube design over here, which you can see better once they're lit, of course. It's all connected by the black plastic, which runs right across the bottom of the grille. But I have to say it is very distinctive, it is very stylish. Now, coming around to the side, you can see there are 16-inch alloys, again, really stylish alloys. This car is an accessorized version, so it does have some details and highlights like the red highlights here, but the regular car will have the standard alloys with a single color. And of course, there's black cladding to make it look a little stronger. It's very taut skinning around the side on the otherwise, and you see little details around the handles as well over here, giving it a little bit of zing. It has blackened out top part, which gives the roof a floating look. There's roof rails on the top, and of course there's that roof line that comes really sharply down to the rear. The C-pillar has a blackened portion which comes back again into metal. Again, a very nice detail over here, and that sharp roof line ends at the rear in a spoiler that again, once again, has cuts and edges. So yes, there's a lot going on in the styling. At the rear, the car is stretched way out to the extremity. So very, very strong hip line in this car. It makes it look really wide and planted. And of course, that is done by these C-shaped tail lamps. Again, very distinctive. They're LED lamps which go right to the ends of the car. You have an false aluminium looking skid plate over here at the bottom, which gives it the required beef. So yes, this is a very, very striking looking car. Do put your comments here and tell us what you think of this car. But let me go inside and take a look at what's going on there. Now, before we get to the inside, let's take a look at some of the Kiger's dimensions. It has a 2,500mm long wheelbase and 205mm of ground clearance. It has also a class-leading amount of boot space at 405 litres, which can be opened out to 879 litres with the rear seats folded down. The version we are looking at has an accessory at the bottom of the boot space, which means you can compartmentalize your luggage. But the regular version will not have these divisions and will just be a lot deeper than the one you see here. Well, on the inside, it definitely continues because it is a stylish looking interior. There are lots of curves, ridges, cuts right across this dashboard. It does look very stylish. You do have the 8-inch infotainment screen over here. It is a touchscreen. You also have the TFT display over here. It's a 7-inch TFT display, so that is really nice. The infotainment system has wireless smartphone replication. Higher variants will also get Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. It also has voice recognition and can pair up to 5 devices. The 7-inch TFT instrument cluster has a variety of skins that you can choose from. And there is a 3D surround sound system with 8 speakers. Lots of details I can see here, like wireless charging pad. It's got a nice high console, so you can keep your phone as well over here. You have your USB ports as well. There's nice detailing around the knob, which is for the drive modes over here, and piano glossy black on the central console. So some nice materials. There is a little bit of hard plastic on the dash, and you can tell that it has been built to a cost. But that is a good thing as well, because you can expect this car to be well priced and it still looks really good on the inside. On the practicality front, it does have A nice space here. I don't know if you can see, but you can come a little closer later. 1 liter bottles can be stored in the door. And when I shut that door, I have to say it shuts nice and strong. It's got a nice feel to it. More storage over here, cup holders and the storage bin. It is a common area over here through both of them. The cup holders a bit deep inside this storage area. Again, space for your phone right up here, and the glove box, it is a dual glove box. There's quite a lot of space down here, and you have a top area as well for some storage. So yes, on the practicality front, it does score. What's the back seat like? That's what we've got to find out next. Well, it is a really nice and spacious backseat. I have to say there is ample legroom. Yes, I know I'm not the best representation of height, but I mean, look at the amount of space here. A tall person would be really comfortable. There's a good amount of headroom despite the sloping roofline. That's because the seat is set quite low. You do sit a little bit knees up, but there's ample space to stretch your feet out in front of the front seat. So that makes it very comfortable. The window line is a bit high and it does kink up towards the rear, but it still is a very large area, so it still feels nice and roomy and spacious. Again, a lot of detailing here on the door panels at the back. You can see again different detailing and little cutout on the plastic areas as well to give it a little bit of style. There is storage space for your bottles even here in the back. The seat itself, extremely comfortable. It's a little on the firmer side, but it is very comfortable. You do have a central armrest as well with cup holders. What you see here is an accessory. It is the air purifier. So that is an add-on as well. And you have the AC vents and a 12-volt charger over here. The thing to note is that this central part of the floor is completely flat. So despite the car being a little on the narrower side, you can get the third passenger in here quite comfortably because they have enough legroom, and the seat contouring too is quite flat, so the third passenger has enough space. Well, the Kaigo will be powered by a 1-liter turbo petrol engine, which will come mated to a 5-speed manual and a CVT. It will have 100 PS and 160 Nm of torque. Now, the Kaigo will also be offered with the 1-liter naturally aspirated engine that you see in the Magnite and, of course, in the Triber, which has 72 HP. This will come mated to a 5-speed manual, and here's the kicker, it will also have an AMT, so it trumps the Magnite in that sense. The Kaigo will also have 3 drive modes: normal, eco and sport. These will alter steering feel, engine response and the gear shifts in the auto variants. So before I wrap it up for you, let's take a quick look at the features that you will get with the Renault Kaigo. So there you have it, that's the Renault Kaigo. Accessorized or not, it really is a stunning looking car, and like I said, it is definitely going to turn heads wherever it goes. I'm giving its look a definite thumbs up. It's spacious on the inside, it's packed with features, it's giving you options of engines with manual and automatic transmission. So yes, I think Renault are pulling another rabbit out of the hat with this one. There is definitely going to be a lot of demand for it. You can expect it to be launched in March, and we're expecting a pricing of around 5.5 to 9.5 lakhs. But Renault have said that this is going to be the best priced SUV in its segment, so watch out for that.